Hey, welcome back to Big Frog's 4x4. Today's episode, we're going to be replacing the fan clutch in a 2007 Dodge Ram 2500 with the 5.9 Cummins diesel engine. If you want to see more great content like this on how to step-by-step instructions on how to do repairs, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Let's get started. Alright, things you're going to need: a new fan clutch. Obviously, already took this one out. This is the old one. But you're going to need a new fan clutch. Things that make the job easier: Lisle tool 43300 for an air hammer. And that's to break your fan hub loose. You put it on there, and it knocks it loose and spins it right off. You can also use a 36mm wrench. You can also use a large chisel with a hammer. When it's on the engine, put the chisel up against the edge right in here and try hitting it. But really, the best bet, your easiest thing to do, is get an air hammer. And this set, you could probably rent it from one of your parts stores. Make it a whole lot easier. Give you an idea what it looks like on the inside. Comes with a long bar for your air hammer. And you're going to want the 36mm adapter. You're going to need half-inch wrench, ratchet wrench preferably. And I use the Ingerdoll Rand Air hammer, model number 118 Max. It does not come with these, but it does with the complete kit of all these chisels and punches. It also comes with the quick connect chuck on the end, instead of that spring chuck, like that. As you'll see in the video, you may have the bolt that holds your wire into its mount. It may snap off. It's just a small bolt, 10 millimeter, I'm sorry, 10 millimeter. So I use the air hammer with the chisel, hit the welded on nut and just broke it free, and then put a new welded nut and bolt in. And you'll see later in the video of that. To make your job a whole lot easier, you pick up this tool, and these things come in handy for a lot of jobs, so buying one of these is definitely a good deal. I was able to get the brand new fan hub and this kit for $220. Just the fan hub through an auto parts store was $220. On Amazon, I got both of these for $220. I literally just bought this kit to do this job because the price came up the same as just a fan hub through anyone else. And I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check out any of these tools, and a link to this fan hub. For $100, I'd say it's worth the extra try. Okay, the first thing you want to do is unplug your fan, which is right here. You see by the steering gear box, here's your line, here's a wire right here for your plug. There's a tab here you want to squeeze. And pull the plug apart. So the tab is right there. Next, you want to grab your half-inch ratchet. Break both bolts loose off the bottom of the radiator fan shroud. And remove the whole way. And the other side. And you can press your fan shroud back. And then I put the nut back on, for one, so you don't lose it, and two, the shroud doesn't pop back through the hole. And you want to do that on both sides. Next, you want to come up top, remove both the shroud bolts from up top. Driver's side first. And then the passenger side. Then you want to pull the shroud back and put your nuts back on. Next, there's a 10mm bolt right here where the plug was that unbolts the metal bracket for your wire for the fan hub, and you want to remove that. I'm going to use my Milwaukee Fuel 3/8 cordless ratchet just to make things easier. And I can move that wire bracket out of the way then. As you can see, I went to take that bolt off of the bracket and it broke off. Rusted in there tight, so we're going to have to come up with another solution to how to hold that in. Next, you should be able to push up on this shroud, push in and up. Work it around your fan blades. As far as you can get it. Then you come up top. You slowly work your shroud out. Careful not to bend any of your fan blades. You might have to work them around them a little bit. And your fan shroud is out. Okay, your next step is to break the fan hub loose. Now, some people use a hammer and a really long chisel, and they'll hit it on the edge of one of the bolt threads here, and hopefully it breaks it free. You can buy a tool that looks similar to this, that you can usually put on there and then strike to break it free. I'm going to use the Lisle fan hub tool, 36mm, goes on the end of an air hammer. You put it down on a pulley, get my air hose, and you hit it. And there it is. Sometimes it takes a few times just get it jarred loose. Then you spin your fan off. It is a right-handed thread, so it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I would suggest renting one of these tools. Get them from your auto parts store or something. Makes the job a lot easier, and it's a lot less force on your water pump, so you have a lot less chance of damaging anything, any of the bearings or something in front of your water pump. And there you have it. That's the part that needs to be taken apart and replaced. Okay, I got my new fan hub from on Amazon. It was $100, like 99 something. Brand new, not remanufactured. Comes with new metal bracket. Looks just like the original. Okay, to remove the fan from the clutch, you have 6 bolts here, 1/2 inch. I'm going to use my Milwaukee fuel. Just like that. Take the fan off. Set your bad hub aside. New one. Line up your holes. Start all your bolts by hand. And run them back on. I just like to make sure, go around, just make sure they're all tight. They don't have to be extremely tight, obviously, but just make sure that it didn't under torque anything. And there you have it. Okay, now you want to set the new fan down into place. Be careful not to catch your wire anywhere, not to rub up against your radiator fins. Throw it down in place. Carefully spin it to the right to screw it back on. Try not to be like me and drop it. Probably a good idea to wear gloves when you do this, because I don't know if you can see that. The edge of that fan is pretty sharp. It just put a small cut in the side of my finger. Alright. Okay, now that you have that screwed on and it's seated tight against the water pump, I'm going to put the gun back on. And just making sure that it's on there tight. Doesn't have to be real tight, just make sure it's snug. Okay, next thing is you want to put your fan shroud back in. Be careful not to push on your fan blades too much. And this nut. Put your shroud back on the posts. Take your nuts back off that are on the bottom of the shroud holding. Be sure to bring your wire for your new hub off to the side and put your shroud back on. Screw my nuts back on. A new bracket then hooks over the edge of the shroud. I'm sorry I forgot to turn the camera back on, but there's the little spot welded on nut that broke off that holds the plug retainer in. I ended up using a air hammer and a chisel and just smacked it a few times and it broke free. This instance, it just goes to show you that not every job goes perfectly and sometimes you got to improvise. So if you have to use a hammer and a chisel or an air hammer with a chisel to break that bolt off the back of here, you have to get another bolt then. Bracket is securely in place. Now you want to spin your fan and make sure those blades aren't going to hit that wire anywhere. If it touches at all, you're going to have to reposition something, move something, but we're good. Hopefully right there you can see the groove that's in the shroud that your wire has to run through. I'll try to spin the fan. You'll see how close that fan comes to those wires. So you have to make sure that it's fully seated in there. And this is bolted down nice and secure, so that there's no way that that fan wire comes loose and causes any problems. Also, make sure that you plug your new wire plug in until it clicks. Make sure you go through and tighten up all your fan shroud nuts next. Then come up top and make sure you put all your nuts on all the upper fan shroud bolts. Okay, just reach down in, do one more spin, revolution of all your fan blades. Just make sure none of them are going to be hitting anywhere, especially that wire for your fan clutch. If it catches one of those, it'll rip it right off, and you'll end up with a check engine light again. And we're clear.